3, 2, 1, and mark. Hello everyone and welcome to Project Cars. Well, yeah, it's a racing game, which is a project on cars, I guess. Well, what is it, first of all? Project Cars is actually as I said, a racing game. It's developed by the British video game developer Slightly Mad Studios and distributed or put out there by Bandai Namco Games. And was released on the 7th of May this year in Europe and the 12th of May in America. And it's on Windows, PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Yeah, so obviously in the background there is some gameplay of me playing it and horrendously failing. The video starts off with me currently in a Formula A, or I guess that's a bit like a Formula 1 car, maybe it is, just copywriting and stuff. But it was the highest spec Formula car I could pick. I wanted to pick the Silverstone track because of obviously the British Grand Prix recently, and I thought it would be kind of link with what's currently going on. So you can see in this that I'm having a lot of struggle with actually driving. I have got it on manual transmission and a little bit of steering aid on the track. It's kind of because I was quite new to the game, and obviously with Formula 1 cars you do go very quick. It's sometimes hard to want to look up at the map. Whilst this game is being played, I am currently using a steering wheel and pedals, and this game does offer, according to Steam, partial controller support. Now, my steering wheel and pedals wasn't one that they particularly had, but it seemed to work quite well. It bound all of the buttons to different useful things. I was able to bind different buttons to turn on the traction control and off the traction control, request a pit stop, different things like that. So there was a lot of different aspects you could actually do. At the same point, when I was playing the steering, as you can see, it's a little bit jumpy, but hey ho, I have got a bit of a cheap steering wheel. It's nothing special, so you know, I just had to live with that. It didn't cause too much issues with the driving, and as you might realise later on, my steering starts to get a bit better. That's because I feel that I found out what the button was for traction control that I bound, because for some odd reason, like here, the only reason I start to turn out is when I overcook the engine, because you know, I just keep over revving. As you can see in the bottom right corner, you have your gears and the revs, and they go red and they're over revving. Also in the bottom right corner you'll see that there is petrol gauge, which you do have to refuel in the pits, and you have your different tyre pressures, which are green or blue. Obviously green is when the tyres are, sorry, not tyre pressure, like tyre temperature. And obviously when they're green, they're obviously a good temperature and they've got good grip to the road. Overall, I think the HUD's actually quite nicely laid out. There's not too much clogging your screen. It's similar to a lot of different race games, but I feel this one looks quite nice. And I like the fact that you have to get your tyres temperature right. You have to watch overclocking or over-revving the engine. You have to fuel. You do have an option of whether you want these on or not. When I started the game, I had the option for beginner, intermediate, and advanced driving. I would have liked to have put it on advanced, however my steering wheel doesn't have a gear lever, so using gears, things like that, manual transmission, wouldn't have been something I would have been able to do, because as I say, I don't have a gear lever. I'd like to get a more expensive steering wheel one day, but that's something for the future. So I went with intermediate, which obviously gave me the use of the steering wheel, but it also gave me the use of allowed me to have the manual transmission, but still gave me the issues with, as you can see here, tyre pressures, tyre temperatures, over revving the engine, petrol gauging, things like that. If you put it on normal, I believe none of those occur. You just drive and you get auto braking and everything like that. So I at least like to think I'm a little bit past that difficulty, so you know, it's all good news. And this game is online. You can play it online. You can play. There is a career mode, but it's currently locked. I don't know whether they're still developing that. That would be something quite fun to look into. You can just race solo if you want to. As I say, you can go online. There are races or there are time trials. This is actually a race, however, I wanted to make it kind of realistic. So when I hosted this one, I set it as I was going to set it as practice and then qualifier and then a race, but I thought that'd take too long. So I did actually just set it as a qualifier, which you saw, and you only saw the qualifier, I believe, in that. Because when it came to the race, the guy stopped and didn't do anything. And ended up getting the yellow flag to warn me. As you can see, we've moved on to a bit more of a normal car, per se. We are driving in the McLaren. I can't remember which McLaren it is, because they've got some very odd names. But you know, it is a very nice car, and this was actually before I was doing the Formula 1. I just thought I'd put it in after. I believe it was the P1 or the 12C that I'm driving in this video. But obviously it's a bit more of a race version. As I say, this is a time trial. I believe, as in you just literally had to set the best times. Obviously you can see in the mini-map there are people coming out the pits, joining and leaving. So you can join a race whenever you want. And if it's a time trial especially, I don't believe you would be able to if it was a race. But if it's a time trial, obviously you can join whenever you want, come out the pits and go. Set your time and join in. And obviously, as you can see at this point, because it was before I did the Formula racing, I hadn't worked out my traction control. So I would be spinning around, you know, I don't know. I really don't know what to say, but spinning around like no man's business, because this game is very hard. It's very, very realistic. You can't, as I say, you can't over-rev, you can't oversteer or understeer. Well, you oversteer and understeer like a bitch if you try and turn too fast. Obviously, mostly without traction control on. You have to brake for corners and things like that. Else you have too much of an issue. Obviously, in this car, you can see that the wheels started off in green. I don't know whether that's because it was time trial, or whether it was the settings of the person's game, or whether it was merely because they don't need to be warmed up like the Formula car did. And as I say, I didn't yet, but I'm pretty sure what I'm doing now is a time trial, because as you can see there, I'm setting the best sector lap 2 time, and I was pretty impressed with my driving in this. Although I was oversteering in lots of parts, turning out and stuff. At one point in this video, I believe I get into the position of second in the time trials, and there's something mildly pleasing about that. There honestly is, being one of the first few people. Obviously, there I've set a new fastest lap, and it confused me because I didn't know whether that was me setting the fastest lap or whether it was anything happening. And as you can see here, those two idiots decide to, or that idiot in particular doesn't know how to drive, spun out and then drove straight across the track. But as you can see, it is a proper time trial. There is no ghosting or anything like that. You can hit into other cars and things like that. As you see here, my laps then got wiped because I tried to, I tried to be a bit aggressive. So there are a lot of rules, different things like that to keep the racing clean. However, again, they can be turned off and you can smack into people like you want. Which, although I wouldn't mind, I think it's kind of it's quite enjoyable when you're able to focus on your racing rather than trying to smack someone. And as you can see at that point, after after overtaking him and getting wiped, and then him spinning out me driving past, I was probably doing the fattest wanker sign at him, to emphasise the fact that I had just passed him because he's a shit driver and just span out. But hey ho. Another thing that really interested me about this game is I noticed that it has VR support, or virtual reality support if you don't know what it means. So things like the Oculus Rift, or the Trinus VR with the using your phone as sort of like a bit like Google Cardboard, just a bit more advanced. So you can use your phone as that for VR, or obviously you can use your sorry, I'm a bit lost here because I'm looking at the video as well. You can sort of use VR to look around your car. I would really like to try that. I think that'd be really fun. I don't obviously have an Oculus Rift. I have invested in a bit like a VR headset that you put your phone in, and it cost about £10. And it's obviously not as good as the Oculus Rift, but it's not meant to be too bad. So I'd like to give that a go, maybe with this video, with this game, sorry. Obviously I will be doing more videos on this game. The only reason I didn't do a live commentary is because for some reason my steering wheel has vibration turned on. There is no way of turning it off, and when you drive it sounds like your mum's vibrator's been left in the drawer next to you, and my condenser mic, which although I love it, it picks up that more than anything else, so it's obviously a bit iffy. Apart from that, you will have just seen that I went into the pit stop. Another good thing about doing pit stops in this game, you completely select what you want. So when you're running into the pit stop, if you want soft tyres, put them on. If you want hard tyres, put them on. If you want a certain amount of fuel, say 30 litres of fuel, or you just want enough fuel to do, say you're, I don't know, 1 lap from time and you're desperately running out, you might pip in, you might get yourself 5 litres of fuel or something, and then you'll go. You know, obviously you can tailor it exactly to how you want. There was sliders for different softness and tyres. I didn't see what else there was there because I'm blind as fuck and concentrating on other things. But as I say, everything about this game has been really impressing me so far. As I say, I got it for about £25 on G2A. It's about £40 on Steam. I couldn't recommend this game more for how realistic it is and actually how fun it is. Just to take a drive around. Sometimes when I'm playing and just not doing anything, or talking to friends on TeamSpeak and things like that, I get a bit bored and I feel, you know, I just want to have a drive around. And recently I just went on Steam and I bought this and Euro Truck Sim, the Scandinavian map. And they're both brilliant and good fun to play. But this gives a little bit more extra stuff to do. Anyway guys, thank you ever so much for watching. If you did enjoy this, then obviously hit the like button, subscribe. You can comment, maybe you've played this game, maybe there's a specific car you want me to drive, or specific track. Maybe you know why I'm being such an idiot and, you know, can't drive. I really don't know. When I was doing my driving lessons, this never occurred. Maybe it's because I'm an amazing driver in real life, you know, never know. So, yeah, as I say, hope you did enjoy this. As I say, it's on Steam. Go and check it out. Highly recommended game. And thanks for watching, guys.